Hello everyone, my name is Jason. I am an ISFP. You are watching my ISFP journey. Thank you so much for watching. I do ask that you would please consider subscribing if you have not already. This video is the fourth video in my series that is all about getting at the heart, the purpose, the core value, the core motivations of the 16 types. In this video, I'm going to be going over the INTP. Now, if you haven't watched the previous three videos, you may want to consider going back and watching them. You might gain a little bit better understanding of what I'm talking about, but I'll try to give it a brief overview. In my study of personality type, I have come across different theories from different people that attempt to find commonalities among some of the types and then bunch them together in groupings based on those commonalities. So what I am doing in this series is I'm looking at those bunches, those groupings, those commonalities, and their definitions. And I'm overlaying sort of one commonality or grouping on top of another, And my goal here is to see if when we take these groupings and the definitions that go with them and overlay them on top of one another, whether or not it's possible to get a more narrowed down understanding of sort of what drives the particular personality type that I'm looking at in the video that I'm doing. So let's talk about the INTP. Now, one of the groupings that you will find for the INTP is actually it actually sort of has a double grouping, and that's the grouping of the NTs. So there are two different theories that group the NTs. On the one hand, over here, NTs are defined as intellectuals or thinkers. Now, I just want to pause right there for a minute. Yes, the T in the personality type, any personality type that has a T in it, stands for thinking. That does not mean that the feelers don't think. It doesn't mean that those who have feeling above thinking don't think. Just like those who have thinking above feeling, they still feel, okay? So it also does not mean that those who have thinking above feeling think more. It's just how they value, basically, thinking above feeling. So both those who have feeling above thinking and those who have thinking above feeling, they both think, and they probably both think the same amount of time and maybe even to the same intensity in some ways. It's just that for those who have thinking above feeling, thinking, pragmatism, rationality, understanding, that is more important to them and more of a driving force to them than likes, dislikes, loves, emotions, feeling, values. Okay, so I just want to say that right off the bat so that when I say NTs are defined as intellectuals or thinkers, that's not that they are necessarily more intellectual or think more than those who are not NTs. It's more that they just put a higher priority on it, or they consider it to be of a greater importance than some of the other characteristics of the other types. Okay, so that's out of the way. NTs, intellectuals, thinkers. That's one category. But the NT category is also given another definition, okay? In the objective personality system, the NT is defined as those who are trying to understand something or, wrap their brain around something or gain a mental grasp over something. That's the thinking side. In the abstract world, that's the in, whether it's introverted intuition or extroverted intuition. So NTs are those who are trying to understand something or figure something out in the abstract world, okay? And they are intellectuals. So they are using their intellectual focus, their high priority on thinking in order to come to an understanding of something or figure something out in the abstract world. Now, what do I mean by the abstract world? Well, the abstract world is anything that you cannot particularly touch or taste or see or feel or smell or hear. So, and if I repeated those a couple times, I apologize. So the idea would be like, let's talk about someone like Einstein. I don't know particularly what personality type he was, but when he was figuring out, quantum physics, when he was figuring out, the whole E equals MC square thing, those aren't things that you can touch. Those aren't things that you can reach out and grab a hold of. Those are concepts that exist in the abstract world. Now, that is not to say that they do not have an application in the physical world. It's not to say that they don't have implications for the physical world. And it's not to say that figuring things out in the abstract world doesn't lead to changes and developments and inventions and practical movements within the physical world. I'll give you an example in a moment of where someone figuring something out in the abstract world led to significant developments in the physical world. Okay. So all I'm saying is that NTs are intellectual. They put a high priority on thinking, and they use that intellectual prowess to try to come to an understanding of things and figure things out in the abstract world. But why? Why do they do this? To what end are they applying this effort? Well, the last category that I want to look at for the INTP is the fact that an INTP is an IP. Now, the IPs, ISFP, myself, INFP, like my wife, ISTP, I have a son who's an ISTP, and INTPs, all of the IPs have as their primary human need the need for significance. In other words, they are wanting to demonstrate to the world that they matter. IPs want to show the world, look, I matter. They want to show the world, look, I have something to offer. I have something to give. I am of value. I am important to the world. Pardon me. Something just popped up on my screen there and I had to make it go away. So if you saw my finger go like this real big, I apologize for that. Anyway, so IPs want to demonstrate their value, demonstrate their significance, okay? It's not that IPs need particularly the group or the outside world to tell them that they are significant. I believe that most IPs, and I know there are exceptions to this, depending on your life experiences, the way you were raised, whether your parents gave you any validation or not, whether the world around you has beaten you down or at least built you up a little bit. But in general, as a general rule, IPs can often see their own importance. They can see that they are significant. They can see that they have something to offer to the world. But just looking at oneself and saying, I matter and I have something to offer, does not in and of itself show anything to the group, to the world, for them to look back and say, yes, we see that you are significant. We see that you do matter. So each IP type is going to be attempting to prove that value, to prove that they have something to offer in a way that will cause others to see it and go, okay, yeah, you do matter. You do benefit this world. You do have value to offer. And each one of the different IP types is going to do that very differently. And if you're interested to see how ISFPs, INFPs, and ISTPs do that, go back and watch the videos that I made on those types. But for the INTP being very intellectual and placing a high priority on thinking is applying that ability to figuring things out in the abstract world so that, and I'm not saying only so that, but in part so that they can then present their findings, present their revelations, present what they have realized, what they have puzzled out, what they have figured out, what they have come to conclusions on, what they have mastered in the abstract world. They can take that and they can roll that out to the world. They can roll that out to the group in a way that many times is tangible and significant so that the group will, yes, benefit from what they have done in many, many ways. And the INTP is going to care about the fact that what they're doing is benefiting people practically. But the additional benefit for the INTP is that the tribe, the group, the people out there can see, hey, you are valuable. You have contributed to the world. You have done something of significance. Now, an example of this would be Elon Musk. Elon Musk is an INTP, and Elon Musk has done many things. He has figured out or come to an understanding of many things in the abstract world. And he has done something with them. So Elon Musk is very concerned about energy preservation, and he's very concerned about environmental issues, it would seem. And so his application of what he figured out in the abstract world was that we could have fully electric vehicles, and that those vehicles could play a significant role in the overall automobile population of the world. And that invention could have a positive overall impact on the environment. So yes, one of his motives was, I care about energy preservation. And another one of his motives undoubtedly was that he has a need, being an IP, for significance, a need to demonstrate his value and his significance. It's not a either or. It's not either you do something because you want to demonstrate your significance and prove that you're valuable, or you do it for some noble cause like saving the environment. It's not either or. It can be both and. But in addition to other concerns that we may have as IPs about how we want to have impact in this area or impact in that area, we are at least in part wanting to have that impact because, again, in part, it proves to the world that we are valuable. It is a demonstration of our contribution to society. Now, if you were to go to any IP and say this and say one of your major motivations, in fact, your primary human need is to demonstrate your value to others. Some of us IPs may recognize that and some of us may not. But I would ask you, if you're an INTP or any IP, to just step back away from yourself for a moment and analyze why do you do the things you do? Do you attempt to do what you do, in part at least, so that you can prove that you matter, so that you can prove that you are significant? I will confess, as an ISFP, that this is something I've come to terms with, that I often have in my life tried to, for my part, produce things of value in the physical world, partly to prove to others that I matter, that I'm valuable, that I have something to offer. I don't need them to tell me I have something to offer and that I'm valuable. I want to prove to them what I already know, which is that I am. And I think that is very common among IPs. It may be a little bit more bold among ISPs than it is among INPs, at least in my experience. But nonetheless, it is true of all of us. All of us who are IPs have a need to effectively show the world and prove that we matter, that we are significant. But we do this in different ways. And for the INTP, the primary way that they do that is using their intellectual power to figure things out and come to an understanding of things in the abstract world. And then, if they're not lazy, if they're not just going to come to that knowledge, come to that understanding, and then go, okay, great, I'm content, I've figured something out, that's all I need to do. If the INTP will then apply that in the physical world, they can sometimes make amazing things happen. Look at everything Elon Musk has done. Look at another example. Actually, this whole conversation wouldn't even exist if it weren't for an INTP, because it was Carl Jung, an INTP, who figured out the cognitive functions. It was Carl Jung, an INTP, who was able to use his intellectual power to come to an understanding of or figure something out in the abstract world, the cognitive functions, the way that we perceive and judge things differently, or as objective personality would say, the way that we observe and decide. Okay, what brain functions are being used there when we do these things? That was Carl Jung that figured that out, and he's an INTP, or he was an INTP. And so we have INTPs to thank for the very fact that we're even having this conversation, that we can even have these videos, that we can even understand the human mind to the degree that we do in this area of personality type. It's absolutely amazing. INTPs have so much value. They have so much to offer the world. You INTPs out there, ply your trade. Apply yourself to figuring things out in the abstract world that someone like me, and I'm not laying this on all ISFPs, but I have to be honest, someone like me, my brand of ISFP brain and understanding, this is just me, I'm not putting this on all ISFPs, is not able to figure things out in the abstract world like that. So you INTPs who can do that, please, for the sake of the good of all of us, do that. And then find ways like Elon Musk or Carl Jung to apply it in the world so that we can all benefit from it. And you will be demonstrating to the world your value. You have great value. You INTPs out there, you have amazing value. Just use it. I'm begging you to use it on behalf of everybody who has something to gain, which is the whole world, from your mind and the application of what you can figure out in the abstract world. Please use it. I hope that this made sense to you guys. I hope that you found this interesting or valuable. Please leave a comment below if you would, to let me know what you think, whether or not you see what I'm saying, or maybe you can fill in any gaps that you have. Just give me your wisdom, give me your thoughts, give me your experience. I would appreciate it greatly. Please do like this video, again, if you found it to be useful, entertaining, helpful, whatever, and do please subscribe. That would mean the world to me. I thank you so much, all of you who are subscribers. Thank you for that. And if you are not, please become one. I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching, and have yourself an awesome day. Bye now.